Ben Jacobs has reported in a conversation with Alex Goldberg on Twitch that Giovani Quenda has been promised a left-wing position. Could this mean curtains for Jamie Gittens? And youngsters Max Derry and Ryan Kuvema-McQueen have been also promised minutes in the upcoming Wrexham game. Is our winger situation getting even more complicated before the season's even finished? Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And today, we're going to take an opportunity to talk about wingers. But today, I also wanted to take an opportunity to unveil my new background, and I want to know what you guys think. Do you prefer the old one? Do you like this one? It's a little bit more Chelsea coded. Let me know what you think in the comments. But guys, before we properly get into today's video, if you are enjoying this content and would like to see more, please do me the distinct honour of liking and sharing the video, subscribe to the channel, or just roast me in the comments, whatever gets you through your day. Right, so Giovani Quenda, let's talk about him because we are all excited about Giovani Quenda coming in next season. He has been the darling of Sporting Lisbon for the last couple of seasons now. I think he was actually unearthed by Ruben Amorim initially, and he's just gone from strength to strength. So, unfortunately, Giovani Quenda has been injured for a reasonable amount. I think it's like the last 2 months kind of thing he's been out for. But before that, he was having an absolutely phenomenal season, and he broke out proper last season and was 100% in Sporting Lisbon's first team. So what's interesting about this is Ben Jacobs had a chat with Alex Goldberg on Twitch, and he reported that Giovani Quenda has been promised that he's going to play on the left wing for Chelsea next season. So, a couple of little interesting things to unpack about this here, right? First off, is Giovani Quenda a left winger? Yes and no is the answer to that question. So Giovani Quenda is left-footed, right? So he's not going to be cutting in from the left-hand side as much, you know what I mean? But why that actually does kind of make sense is because Giovani Quenda's main strengths aren't... Although he can score a goal, don't get me wrong, he is an assister. He's a really good creative player, and he's also particularly adept at running up and down the pitch, tracking back, defending, do you know what I mean? And you know, seems like a good fit for that transitional, high-pressing vision of football that Liam Rosenior wants to play. So, in truth, Giovani Quenda was almost exclusively used as a right winger this season. Last season, he mostly played as a right winger, but did feature out a reasonable amount on the left. So, his heat maps, for instance, are heavy on the right side. This season, it's completely on the right side. Last season, it's heavy on the right side, but there is a reasonable amount on the left last season to say he can play there as well. So what does that say? Does that say that we're not particularly fussed about our left winger being able to cut in? I mean, if you think about how we've been playing this season, there has been a lot of Esteval Willian will play there sometimes. Pedro Neto has been playing there largely, and Pedro Neto has been getting in there over the likes of Alejandro Garnacho and Jamie Gittens, who we're going to talk about in a minute as well. So is that what we want from the balance? I mean, I guess, you know, that's lots of left footers on the pitch. In times gone by, there was always lots of right footers on the pitch. You know, we had Oscar, Willian and Eden Hazard. They were all right footed, and that was pretty magical, wasn't it? But it makes it feel unbalanced. But like I say, history sort of says this kind of thing can happen and work quite well. So I do think it's interesting. Giovani Quenda, either way, absolutely phenomenal player. So the important thing is, what does this mean for Jamie Gittens and Alejandro Garnacho, right? Because neither of them have exactly set that left side alight this season, have they? And like I say, both of them have essentially lost their place to Pedro Neto for the most part. Now, Jamie Gittens in particular is a bit of a strange conversation because he has been injured quite a lot. He's missed Alejandro Garnacho has definitely been preferred, but also has generally been fitter. So when we take a look at their numbers, right, neither of their numbers are looking phenomenal, to be completely honest with you. So Jamie Gittens has only got 1 goal and 5 assists in 27 matches, 6 GA in 27 matches. 27 matches is enough to know whether Jamie Gittens is ready, and it just looks like he isn't at the moment. And the frustrating thing about Jamie Gittens is sometimes he looks great, and sometimes he just doesn't appear. Do you know what I mean? He's just like barely there at all. Garnacho, 6 goals and 4 assists in 31 matches. 10 GA in 31 matches. So obviously that's a little bit better at the end of the day. They are very close. They've both in and around played 30 matches each. Jamie Gittens with 6 GA, Garnacho with 10, and Garnacho is obviously a little bit better at scoring goals as well. In particular, I think, although his last performance in a Chelsea shirt against Aston Villa was probably his best performance this season, his best goal scoring return came against Arsenal, didn't it? When he scored those 2 goals at the end of the day. So neither Garnacho nor Jamie Gittens are performing particularly well, but you would have to look at just the facts, I guess, and say that at the moment Alejandro Garnacho is having a better season. Now, things did change a little bit when Liam Rosenior came in. Liam Rosenior definitely seemed to get something out of Jamie Gittens that we hadn't seen a huge amount of, and I think largely it was allowing him to cut in a little bit more, because Maresca was really, really keen for his wingers to hug the byline and to stretch play and be really wide all of the time. But Liam Rosenior seemed a lot more happy to let his fullbacks do that and for his wingers to be able to cut in. For instance, we've seen a lot of Cole Palmer on the right-hand side, but he's basically always just still playing in the middle, and he's been getting overlaps from the likes of Malagusto and Reece James. So Jamie Gittens did look like he was looking better since Liam Rosenior came in. 100% that's true. But is it good enough? Do you know what I mean? Is it good enough? Does he really still, and it's difficult to say because he's been injured for a little while now as well. But just with how not very often Alejandro Garnacho has been being chosen over Pedro Neto when Pedro Neto is left-footed, I think it would show you that neither of them are particularly favoured, right? So the question is, what do you do? Do you know what I mean? So let's say, let's supplement this with some of Giovani Quenda's stats, for instance. Now, caveat, it's the Portuguese league, which isn't one of the top 5 leagues, or maybe is just actually, I'm not sure the Portuguese league is one of the top 5 leagues. Now, it's not impossible for people to come over from the Portuguese league and play really well in the Premier League. We have seen the likes of Bruno Fernandes come to Man United and absolutely tear it up here for years. Obviously, in days gone by, we saw the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo as well. So we know it's possible, do you know what I mean? But in general, on the face of it, the Portuguese league not quite as strong as the Premier League. So there is that in the caveat, right? But Giovani Quenda has 5 goals and 6 assists in 19 matches this season. 11 GA in 19 matches this season. So he has played 33% of the matches that Jamie Gittens and Alejandro Garnacho have played, but he has arrived with a better GA than both of them. Now, like I said, and there are caveats. At the end of the day, Giovani Quenda, also the youngest, so that kind of plays in his favour as well. Do you know what I mean? When you're just looking at the ceiling of the players, the potential of the players, the ability of the players, Giovani Quenda kind of has it, I think, when you put everything together. The fact that he's only 18, he's been getting in that team since he was 17 years old. He's versatile, he can play on the left, he can play on the right. He's definitely more creative rather than Garnacho, who, seems like more of a direct kind of player. And I guess we don't really know that about Jamie Gittens yet, do we? But Giovani Quenda definitely has like more of a strong profile of a player. Like, I already understand what kind of player Giovani Quenda is and how that would benefit the team compared to the likes of Garnacho and Gittens at the moment, who feel like we're still trying to figure it out as we go. So what is the likelihood of what's going to happen, right? So I think the truth of the fact is Alejandro Garnacho is more likely to be sold, but more likely to stay in the team short term. And what I mean by that is I think that Jamie Gittens, we spent more money, a reasonable amount, 50 mil rising to 60 mil on Jamie Gittens, and it's harder to sell him, essentially. Alejandro Garnacho, if he has one more season and performs kind of the way he has for us already, we'll probably be able to sell him on at some sort of profit. So when you just think about next season and, the makeup of the team and, people have got to go out and make space and we've got to free up wages on the books for that year or whatever, it just seems to me like it makes a little bit more sense to loan Jamie Gittens out and keep Garnacho and make him and Quenda kind of fight it out for that left wing spot. Now, the other thing that this does is give you some sort of idea that maybe Pedro Neto is going to stick around this season. So initially, I was of the opinion that, for instance, we were supposedly interested in Antoine Semenyo in the winter break, which means, okay, if there is a proper big first choice left winger there, then, it's going to get complicated and someone's going to need to get sold. I had a feeling that Pedro Neto might be that guy because of his value, and we had the fact, we had Giovani Quenda coming in as well, and I was a little bit concerned about having Quenda and Esteval on the right wing because they're both going to be 18-19. But if Quenda is being promised left wing time, that makes a lot more sense to say that Jamie Gittens is probably going to be the one who gets sacrificed for that, and maybe would be some sort of indication that at least for next season we're going to keep hold of Pedro Neto, so him and Esteval Willian and Cole Palmer from time to time as well can keep that locked down. Especially so in the Aston Villa game, what we saw was not a typical number 10 kind of role. Do you know what I mean? It was a bit more of a 4-3-3 with Enzo Fernandez and Reece James playing like the 8s and Moises Caicedo playing at the 6. So if we do change the formation, that does add Cole Palmer in as another winger option essentially. But yeah, also that would say that potentially we do keep hold of Pedro Neto for the next season, which if he can redeem himself from his silliness in the Arsenal game, then yeah, okay, cool. I'm kind of down for that as well. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments about this news. Like I say, this is based on a chat that Ben Jacobs, who is a pretty well-renowned Chelsea reporter, has had with Alex Goldberg on Twitch. Obviously, Alex Goldberg, big Chelsea content creator in his own right. So, yeah, Giovani Quenda is coming in. That is absolutely happening. He actually, during his injury, came to Chelsea and Cobham and, you know, sort of started ingratiating himself with the culture and the team. He is coming in. That's absolutely going to happen. Who makes way, right? And does this, like I kind of mentioned earlier, does this put the kibosh on us potentially going out and buying another left winger? I'm going to get into another piece of news in a minute that's also about more left wingers, and it is just, you know, it's just ridiculous, man. We really need to streamline this stuff down, doesn't it? But yeah, if Giovani Quenda comes in, does someone have to make space for him? And who is that person? Does Pedro Neto just get sold? Is Alejandro Garnacho actually more at risk of being sold than I originally thought? Or is Jamie Gittens just likely to get a loan move somewhere because being that he was the highest value of the two between him and Garnacho, it's more important for us to raise his value because Garnacho, because we bought him a bit cheaper and he's performing a bit better, it's going to be easier to sell Garnacho. But with Jamie Gittens, we bought him for 50, 60 mil. If we wanted to sell Jamie Gittens, which I don't think we do, we would lose money on him at the moment. Whereas even with Garnacho at the moment, I think we'd probably break even. So yeah, tell me what you think, guys. Giovani Quenda, yay or nay? Are you excited? Do you think the left wing is a good spot for him? Do you think that he'd perform better than the two guys we've got there already? And who do you think makes way? Is it going to be Alejandro Garnacho? Is it going to be Jamie Gittens like I'm thinking it will be? Or could it even be Pedro Neto? And then we just have teenagers and youngsters everywhere on the wings. So speaking of teenagers and youngsters on the wings, that brings me to the next piece of news, which is pertaining to tonight's game. So if you're watching this after tonight's game, it'll be interesting to see whether it happened or not. Max Derry and Ryan Kuvema-McQueen have both been called up to the squad for the Wrexham game. Now, Max Derry, we've seen a little bit of already. We got Max Derry from Crystal Palace at the beginning of the season, back end of last season. He is a very young winger, left winger. He made an appearance against Hull, and although didn't make a huge amount happen, he looked comfortable. He looked good. It was a good cameo from the youngster. Also joining the squad is Ryan Kuvema-McQueen, who is another left-footed winger. Oh, we have got so many wingers. So I did my predicted lineup yesterday, and I have predicted Garnacho and Pedro Neto starts, which for the Wrexham game is quite overkill, really, isn't it? So maybe Max Derry even gets the start. Do you know what I mean? He's obviously already been trusted. Max Derry, 18, already been trusted to play a little bit against Hull and looked pretty good. And Kuvema-McQueen is 17 years old, so he's super, super, super young. He's having a pretty good season in the under-21s. He's also been called up, I think, for the under-20s England squad at some point as well. So this is just more fuel to the fire, isn't it? Like, I really like the look of Max Derry in particular. I haven't seen really anything of Kuvema-McQueen yet, but you know, if he comes on tonight and has a good performance, that'd be interesting. But is Max Derry, you got to bear in mind, like, even though we've never seen him, he's the same age as Esteval Willian, and we all desperately want to see more of Esteval Willian. So is Max Derry another ingredient to throw into the left-wing chaos pie that we are brewing at the squad at the moment? It just seems wild. Now, I guess the good thing with academy players is they don't expect to play as much, right? And if Max Derry can come in and do something to start making that position his own, that's great, you know, because that just answers the question. But the difference is Max Derry's not going to complain about not getting game time. Like, you know, if Jamie Gittens spends the whole season on the bench, he's going to be like, what am I doing here? Because obviously he'd been out playing at Dortmund and made the big moves to Chelsea or whatever. With an academy player, it's different. You've got more time to ingratiate them into the squad. Do you know what I mean? It's definitely a little bit easier in that respect. So yeah, like I say, I think Max Derry looks really, really good. Liam Rosenior is really, really excited about both of these young players. It is wild because Reggie Walsh, do you know what I mean? Reggie Walsh, where's Reggie Walsh? We haven't seen Reggie Walsh for absolutely ages. I think the Ajax game maybe was the last time we saw Reggie Walsh. I know he's not a winger, but just another academy player that we've seen zero of. Genesis Antwi was great, right? We saw him in pre-season and he looked really good, but again, haven't seen him again all season. So, you know, it's difficult with the academy players, isn't it? But Max Derry seems to be favoured at the moment. Do you know what I mean? He got the minutes against Hull. Chances are he's going to get some minutes tonight against Wrexham. And Kuvema-McQueen, at 17 years old, has also come out of the four to throw himself into the mix. So, guys, I'm going to start wrapping it up there. So, a couple of things. Left wing madness. Is all of this just pointless and we're just going to go out and buy someone? Is that what we should do? I'm not going to lie to you. I love the idea of Max Derry being brilliant. Yeah, of course I do. But at the same time, I'm like, that's another 18-year-old. Do you know what I mean? You know, and we're already struggling with the older youngsters that we have in Alejandro Garnacho and Jamie Gittens, and we're talking about bringing in an 18, 19-year-old Giovani Quenda over there as well. Is packing out these positions with more and more and more teenagers the right thing to do? I'm not completely convinced, to be honest. I'm not completely convinced. The squad 100% needs to start thinking about being streamlined, right? Especially in those wing positions, man. And especially if we are going to move away from like a classic number 10. Now, we'll see in, you know, the rest of the season whether, you know, the 4-3-3 is something that we're going to do a little bit more, or whether we are going to revert back to that 4-2-3-1. In which case, you know what I mean, we have, you know, maybe the spread, the balance is a little bit easier to maintain. But yeah, that's not even to mention that we're not even talking about any other central attacking options yet. Literally, you know, it is a little bit wild, isn't it? It's a little bit wild. So the left wing situation is a mess. We're filling it with youngsters. We're going to have teenagers everywhere. We're going to have Giovani Quenda, Estevan Willian, Max Derry. It's just teenagers absolutely everywhere, man. It's all going a bit nuts, isn't it? So I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. Thank you very much for sticking around to the end of the video. If you did, let me know what you think of the background. I've had to change some colours of the graphics and stuff. I would like to know what you think. I was thinking, do you know what? The brick wall is nice, but maybe I'll try and make it a little bit more Chelsea coded, and I'd like to know what you guys think. I hope you're all having an absolutely wicked day, and I'll catch up with you very, very soon. Take it easy. Peace.